The Transcendent. I'm Raya, and I'm the daughter.
And I'm Joe, and I'm the dad.
We're talking about politics today. And, Dad, do you know what the difference is between death and taxes?
I thought I did, but I guess I don't.
Well, the biggest thing is Congress doesn't meet every year to make death worse. When I go on Facebook these days, I see a lot of my friends posting messages that they're very concerned about the state of the country, and rightfully so. A lot of allies, I think, don't understand how scared we are in the LGBTQ plus community. And there are a lot of reasons to be very scared, more than there ever has been in my lifetime, or at least in the past few decades. But there's also some reasons for optimism as well.
Yes, I want to take a look at reasons why we ought to be concerned. Yes, there is a lot of bad out there. And I think we can talk about what can we and what should we do about it.
Right. You know, if you listen to this podcast, one of the things that we really pride ourselves on is that we stay out of the muck. And we don't want to get ourselves all frustrated with how bad things are. We want to always be looking for ways where we can see the positive.
Yes.
Because we believe that approaching the world with a positive mindset is always going to be our best bet. And that's why we want to be your voice of positivity.
We are a team here that has absolutely the same concerns. Can my concerns as an ally be as strong as yours as a person who is part of the LGBTQ plus community? I think the answer is yes, but I don't know that for a fact because I'm not there.
I've gotten messages from many of my friends checking in, and I've checked in on some of them as well. How are you holding up through this? This is really difficult. We're scared. We're concerned. I want to read a few of the posts that I've seen go around from various social media places. For instance, one post said, "My doctor called today. No more hormones for my 17-year-old. The president's executive order means our hospital could lose its funding if they keep treating trans youth. How do I tell my child their government decided that they don't deserve care?" It was a post that really resonated with a lot of parents that have trans children. Here's another one. Somebody talking about their passport living as a trans person. "The government just erased my gender marker from my passport. Years of living as myself, gone with a signature. I feel invisible and terrified to travel or even exist. This is what it means to be legislated out of existence. I have not renewed my passport, but I missed the window of time." And then the legislation went into place, or not the legislation, but the executive order, stating that if I go renew my passport right now, it would not have an F on my passport. It would have an M. And that makes me really scared. This is not people out there. This is me.
We want to take a look at some of the most significant anti-LGBTQ plus laws that have been enacted or advanced just in 2025. Let's start with an executive order. And this one was actually put out on day one, the executive order defining sex strictly as male and female at birth and rescinding the federal acknowledgement of gender identity and non-binary status. That happened on January 22nd, 2025, on day one, just like our current president said he would do. There's also been, in February and March of 2025, military and veteran restrictions. Executive orders, again, implemented under Project 2025, banned transgender individuals from military service and removed gender-affirming care for transgender veterans. Now, courts have issued injunctions blocking the implementation, but it's still there, and there's more coming.
There's so much pushback. There's so much, there are so many reasons to feel like, look at all this stuff that's coming against us here.
Yeah.
Boy, our veterans are the most important people that we should be protecting, especially on gender issues.
Well,
And
thank you.
And to cut that out entirely, it's terrible. It's really bad.
Those are just two things that happen at the federal level. At the state level, effective on July 1st, which was just a few days ago, on July 1st, Iowa had a complete repeal of non-discrimination protections for transgender people, prohibition of gender marker changes on birth certificates, and a ban on teaching LGBTQ plus identities from kindergarten through 6th grade. That's the most recent.
Yeah.
And in multiple states, they've passed bathroom bans in government buildings, which, by the way, is probably one of the most stupidest things I've ever heard.
Yeah. And we talked about that before. It doesn't hurt someone like me because if I go into the women's bathroom, nobody looks twice. Nobody thinks about it. Nobody ever cares.
But everyone would if you walked into the men's bathroom.
They sure would. And what they're really saying is the trans people are supposed to make people uncomfortable. And then what they don't realize is who really hurts from this are the gender nonconforming people who are like a butch woman walking in and using the women's bathroom. I know a lot of women with short haircuts that have been approached and said, "Excuse me, sir, this is not your bathroom. How dare you? You're supposed to be protecting women, and you've decided that because somebody has a short haircut that they don't qualify as a woman?" It doesn't make any sense. And what they claim to be protecting, they go exactly against it. And they're hurting the very people that they're wanting to be protecting.
Now, this didn't happen in Iowa in 2025 here, but also in 2025, those restroom restrictions also were passed in Montana, South Dakota, Wyoming, Idaho, and Arkansas. Just this year.
What these things remind me of is legislation that's passed by people who don't know someone like me. They've never met a transgender person, or they don't know people that are in their inner circle, and they're passing what they feel is common sense legislation, except it's not common sense. If you know even a single transgender person, if you know even a single person that's hurt by this, you know instantly why this is not helpful. And even if you disagree with LGBTQ plus issues, you're not an ally, you're not affirming, you know that we still exist. We're still out there and we still need protection.
I want to point out to our international listeners that is also happening in other countries as well. Just March 18th of this year in Hungary, the president signed a law banning Budapest Pride. We just came off at Pride Month, and it was wonderful. And I saw so many wonderful and great things. I experienced so much that told me we're here. We're strong and we're proud, and it's wonderful. And here they're doing things that are changing the law in other areas. In Uganda, though the anti-homosexuality law passed in 2023, Human Rights Watch reports that since May of 2023, enforcement intensified and abuses surged in 2025. Russia expanded bans on LGBTQ propaganda. May 14th of this year saw arrests of a book publisher, employees, and the publisher because they were promoting LGBTQ content. And it goes on and on. We could give you many more examples. They're happening out there.
If we filter for only the bad things, we have more than enough reason to be scared, to be fearful, to be angry, to be upset, and to live our lives with that negativity that we're trying so desperately to avoid. Those things are not things that we should be looking away from and not caring about, because those really matter.
They matter very much, and each of us has an opportunity and a requirement, basically, for us to do, a responsibility to fight for the rights of the LGBTQ plus community. They've done it before. They did it in Stonewall. And long before and long after, and at various times, that'll happen again. But before we go on, I want to tell you also that there are some good things happening internationally. In New South Wales, on July 1st of 2025, the Equality Legislation Amendment, that's the LGBTQ Plus Act, came into effect, allowing legal gender change without surgery or medical diagnosis.
Wow.
How about that?
Wow. When I transitioned, that would have been really, really important. There's a lot of people that's really important for.
Of course. Also, in Western Australia and on Christmas Island, as part of reforms to the Gender Recognition Act, non-binary legal recognition became available in 2025. And Australia-wide blood policy was one last thing. That is, you talk about current. July 14th, 2025, Australia lifted the restrictions on blood donations by men who have sex with men, ending the MSN deferral period. How about that?
Wow.
And that's just a few days ago.
A few weeks ago. Yeah.
A few days ago.
A few weeks ago.
July 14th.
Oh.
Pretty good. There's another one, too. I'll give you one more. I could give you many. Also, as of July 1st, Sweden permitted legal gender change without a medical diagnosis, just like Australia did. And individuals age 16 plus can self-declare gender. Younger minors still need consent, but age 16 plus. So that's Sweden.
Why does this matter? You think about those legislators that are pushing back so hard against this. They say, wait a minute, so you're saying that somebody can just go in there and decide that they want to change their gender marker and that's all that they need to do? Yeah, that's exactly it. There's this fear that, you're going to get some man somewhere who doesn't have any gender issues, and he's going to go get his whole driver's license changed so that he can get an F put on it, so that he can walk into women's restrooms and do what?
Yeah.
I mean, what? He's going to go and use the stall? I mean, it's just silly. The fears that people have about self-identification, but why it matters is all of the people that don't have access to the doctor, to the diagnosis, to the medical pieces. And like those social media posts that I read at the beginning, a lot of people had access to those things and now they're gone. So the more that we have self-identification, the more it helps the most underprivileged of us to be able to live their best lives and not have to jump through this hoop or that hoop. The more hoops you make trans people jump through, the harder it is, and the more you end up seeing people suffering from depression and feeling terrible about themselves.
Yes, there are some things happening right now that are bad, but there are some things that are happening that are good as well. Legal gender affirmation is becoming easier in multiple countries. That's a good thing.
It's a really, really good thing. It really matters a lot.
Not only is it becoming easier, it's also becoming less bureaucracy. No surgery required. That is another movement in the right direction. Civil and parental rights for LGBTQ plus families are increasingly affirmed through anti-discrimination and parent laws. Health systems and military services are gradually becoming more inclusive, especially in states like Nevada and Washington. These are all good things that are happening. So it's a little bit of each. But there are all of these concerns. None of this tells us what we should do. None of this is pointing to us and say, what should we do? Should we just sit here and be afraid? Should we react? What can we possibly do? We'll tell you a little bit more about that right after this.
I'm Chuck Reynolds, and I started listening to Transgender because Joe is my friend. I keep listening because I have friends, colleagues, and family members who are part of the LGBTQ community, and I want to better understand their struggles and perspectives. I have become a supporter because I believe Joe and Raya are truly helping to preserve relationships and save lives. Join me in supporting Transcendent. Just go to transcendent.com, click on support, and select the amount you'd like to give each month. It can be as little as $3, and you can cancel at any time.
We started this podcast by talking about people being concerned and being afraid and being unsure of what's going to happen and what should they do. Now we're talking about action. What happens next? The first thing, make certain that you yourself are not going to let this drive you down. This could affect your mental health. I understand that. Don't allow it to do that. Don't allow them to put you at a point where they're painting you into a corner. No. If you have mental issues, if you have some concerns, I highly encourage you to seek professional help. We talk about that a lot on here, don't we, Raya?
Yes, we do. We sure do. Because it is so important. And getting that grounding, having somebody there who is professionally trained and knows what to do and how to help you through things, how to spot unhealthy thought patterns, to point them out and to show you how to think about things differently is so critical. It's one of the best things that we can do for ourselves.
Along that same line, pair up with other people, share with one another, support one another. So if there's somebody out there that you know that has expressed concerns about this and you're pretty comfortable, friend them, help them pick up the attitude. They are making themselves vulnerable to you. You can do the same to someone else. If you are the person out there that is really concerned and worried, seek a friend, make a friend, and help each other, support each other, stay together. That in itself is going to allow you to keep control of your own attitude and your own mental health. Don't let them take that away from you.
And watch out for other people. Watch out for your friends. You know, I mentioned at the beginning of this podcast that I actually had a lot of different friends reach out to me and just check in. How are you doing? And I reach out to them as well. But as I think through it, every single person that reached out to me to ask how I'm doing through this time, every single one of them was LGBTQ+. I don't think I got a single message from anyone that's an ally asking me how I'm doing. Now, that's okay because I'm actually doing quite well.
You got it from one.
Well,
I'm on the other side of the microphone here.
Well, I mean, yes, you and I talk all the time.
I know.
But I don't know that of the people that reached out and said, hey,
yes,
I know things are really bad right now, and then understood how I might be feeling, it was all people that were in my same shoes because I know why they reached out to me for the same reason because they're feeling it themselves. We all are. And I want to mention that because I feel like if you're an ally and you're not super close to people in the LGBTQ plus community yourself, you've got a friend here or there, but you're not super close, you may not realize just the level of how scared people are right now. And our message on this podcast is both to say to those people, there are reasons for hope and optimism, and it's not as bad as many of my friends think. But also for my ally friends that are thinking, hey, it's not that big of a deal, I also want you to understand some of those social media posts that I read at the beginning and some of the statistics that Dad read. Those are real and those are important.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why we need you. That's why allyship matters so much.
So once you do that, I would say another important thing to do is get involved. Get involved by going to Pride events or being a part of an organization like PFLAG or any of the other organizations and groups that are out there. When you are part of something like that, you realize that this is much bigger than just you, much bigger than just your own social community. It is huge. We talk about this a lot, and I'm going to get this in one of the podcasts, and that is, it's
as
like
normal as being left-handed.
Exactly. And because I'm left-handed, I know that 12% of the people out there feel exactly like I do about it. And what's interesting about that, I'm actually proud of the fact that I'm left-handed. It makes me feel as though I'm special. Not because I'm a minority, I'm special. I'm kind of an advanced species in my own mind, of course.
You and Mom have more left-hander things around than I've ever seen from anybody. Little plaques and things celebrating being left-handed. You are. I don't know anybody else that's left-handed that is as proud of being left-handed as you are.
And that's exactly the way we should be about the LGBTQ plus community. Pride,
yes.
Pride event, Pride month, Pride everything. And it's not just a word. It's a real thing. It's a real thing. It is a real thing for me to say, and I've said it on this podcast many times, Raya, I am so proud of what you have done. I'm proud of you, and I am proud to introduce you as my daughter. And I'm not just saying it, I really am proud. And when you're really proud, show it. It's okay. I can tell you, I went to a number of events during Pride Month. I had a ball. It was a wonderful time just to see the number of people there that were so happy to be at the event and enjoying themselves. And everyone there was like an instant friend.
Yes, it was great. I loved every one of those. You remember Matthew and Roy that we had on our podcast. I happened to see them at some of the Pride events this last June. And when it turned over to July a few weeks ago, I saw that Matthew had posted on Facebook. And he said, Pride Month has been completed. I attended a Pride event each weekend, and now I'll continue to celebrate my Pride all year long. And I said, I'm always sad when June is done and we have to go back to the rest of year, ROY. But in your case, I fully understand why you celebrate Roy too. Of course, his husband is Roy. You can go back and listen to that one. That was on January 1st of 2024, one of our best episodes with their story. And that's the community that we have.
Yeah.
The community that we had at Pride, the community that we have through the rest of the year, the community that we have as we get to know the Roy and Matthews of the world and our other friends around, and we discover that fear that we have of all the things that are going on out there can't touch us the same way if we stand together.
And as an ally, I'm proud to call them friends. I'm so happy to see that they are so happy.
Yes.
It's wonderful. What else can we do? Well, we talk about these social events and the things that we ought to be doing out there, supporting those kinds of things. I'm telling you, it gives you a great feeling. It gives you a sense of optimism and hope. And it's exciting. It's fun. But, another thing we could do is we can support queer artists. We can support educators that are out there helping us. We can support public figures. We can support musicians. You just bought tickets for an upcoming Broadway show here that some of you might have seen. And if you haven't seen it, I'll tell you, you can't miss it. It's a show coming up called Kinky Boots.
Yeah, which you've told me about it since you saw it, how much I will love it.
Oh,
I've not seen it yet.
It's great.
Yeah.
I really enjoy it.
That'll be good. That'll be really good. Another thing you can do is get out and be active politically. So that might mean going to protests or gatherings, or what do they call it in our area? Demonstration, a rally.
A rally.
Just having people there, having bodies there, shows the rest of the world we care. We're concerned about where things are going, and you get a sense that we're together in this. I come away from those rallies with such hope that we'll see the world really be the place that we want it to be.
Another thing that is, I cannot emphasize this one enough. You realize now, if you didn't vote in the last election, you may have made the biggest negative difference. Vote. If every one of us vote, our voice is definitely heard. It is a huge part of the voting audience. Only 60% of the people in the U.S. that are eligible to vote, vote. Now, if 90% of the LGBTQ plus community and their allies all voted, we would always have our way.
Mm-hmm.
Don't just put that off. Don't say your vote doesn't matter. Your vote matters dramatically. And I highly encourage you in every election, not just the presidential election.
Especially not just the presidential election.
Yes.
The local ones are the most important ones because your vote counts more than it does in any other election. And local is where everything happens. Whether you're voting for your local school board, boy, there's so much that's happening at the level of the school board. So to get people that we know in there that are fighting for our children, fighting to make sure that they're protecting trans youth and trans kids. There's so many attacks on them. People say on the other side, they're trying to protect kids, and yet they don't care at all about the suicide rates or the levels of depression as they're going up. It's all just to score political points. Vote in those local elections, and it matters so much more than anything else you can do.
And if it would move you in any way, run for a local office. Run for school board. Run for your city council or your town council or one of those other elected offices. Let's get more people in there that are looking at things logically and saying, we're just a normal part of the community and we're here too. Don't let the other people do it. What was it? It used to be there used to be an expression. I can't remember who it said. It always said, let Bob do it. And that wasn't the right name. I was at during World War II. It meant if you let someone else do it, eventually those people will control everything.
One of my favorite bumper stickers that I ever saw, it inspired me so much. I saw it 30 years ago, and I still remember it. It said, get involved, The world is run by those who show up.
Oh, that's so true.
And I've actually made a point of that I've recently started showing up at my local village board meetings because I believe that it matters at the local level. Wherever it makes sense for you to get involved, be a part of it because it matters.
It sure does matter. It matters a lot. And I can tell you, whether you're an ally or whether you're an LGBTQ person, I'd like you to remember this one thing. Silence helps the oppressor. Your voice matters. It matters a lot. Voting, joining rallies, contacting lawmakers, signing petitions, those things matter. They matter very, very much. And because too many of us have been silent, we now have some people making the rules that we don't want there. Well, let's get rid of them.
Right.
Your voice matters. The last thing I want to say, when hate rises, so must we. Together, we're not just surviving, we are transcending.
I think we're descending.
Yes, we are.
We are doing our best to transcend here every single Monday, bringing you a voice of positivity or sometimes a voice of reality mixed with that positivity because it matters what we do. It only works if we understand why it matters, why it's important that we continue to be there. And we're trying to be here for you to help you continue on in that.
Please share this with one other person. And with that, we'll see you Monday.